Hey guys, just went live. This is Steven, aka Even Steven Money. Give everyone a second to join. Hopefully the hair is not too crazy. I got the polo for you guys. I'm doing my best, right? Here, we'll give you an extra button. See if that helps. Oh, man. Let me back this up just a little bit. Oh, that looks better. I like that so much better. Crazy wild hair. But yeah, I'm just gonna give it a minute. Let everyone, step in and join, and we'll get right to it. This is Facebook Live only. We're doing Facebook Live only today. Hey guys, I had to go grab the book, so it should be good. All right, guys. So I gave everyone just a couple minutes to join and gonna get started, guys. I got a good one today. It's a financial independence interview of sorts, and let's get right into it. Hey guys, my name is Steven, aka Even Steven Money, and we are here live on Money Talk Friday. Every week we've got a new topic. I share my story, recommendations, action items, and any questions from you, which are always fun. Now, this one's going to take a little bit of a dive into our interview of sorts financial independence series. So it's going to be a lot about Our Next Life and Tanya Hester, who I'll talk more about here in just a minute. But you might be wondering who I am. So my name is Steven. And my story is after paying off over $100,000 in consumer debt, my wife and I found our version of financial freedom. It led me to where I am today, which is starting or launching my own money coach business, where I help clients pay off debt faster, save more money than that they ever have before, but also that they can live a better life today, but retire comfortable tomorrow. So exciting stuff. We're going to be talking. So it's Our Next Life, which is like Our Next Life. It's her series, or it's her blog, and it's actually Tanya Hester. So she wrote this book, Work Optional. So it's an interview that I did with her in 2014, 2015, and some of it's off the cuff, kind of fun. Fun questions, but a lot of it deals with financial independence. So you'll see from the interview itself, since it was done in 2014, 2015, what is great about this one is I was able to, kind of look at her answers from then, and then she went ahead and updated her answers as they would be seen today. So it's pretty fun. I think she said it was fun looking in the, the Wayback Machine, seeing if your plan really comes to fruition and it's correct. So let me grab the link. I have it here, and I'll put that in the comments. And don't need to check it out right this second, but this is the actual interview. So you'll see some of the stuff that I talk about here, but you can always check it out later. Or, of course, skim it while I'm talking about it a little bit. But I always like to get started with reading the intro, and it'll give you a little bit of an idea of what we're talking about today. So it's time for another fun-filled adventure in our Interview of Sorts series. And today it's Our Next Life, or Tanya Hester. So I'm a pretty big fan and friend, if that's possible. I read... the more I read Our Next Life, the more I really like their site, their design, just the interaction. I got to meet Tanya a couple times, but I don't want to ruin the interview. But I did and do like to pay very close attention to those in the final stages of financial independence or retiring early. At this point in time, they were 2 years away, so just around the corner. I related to them very much. So I'm in my 30s, they were in their 30s. They planned to use rental real estate as part of their financial independence plan. So I felt like finally, someone who's out there doing it too. But hey, that's my award-winning introduction for them. I thought it'd be a great thing to see what they've been up to, right? What have they been doing? So actually, I'm giving the update. So that's where they were. They were 2 years away. That was in 2015. So what happened? They actually left their careers for early retirement. Along the way, they launched a podcast called The Fairer Cents. Or I should say she, but she did that along with her friend, Kara Perez, and she got a chance to write a book. You hear me talking about this a couple times. Work optional, retire early the non-penny pinching way. She said it's been a wild ride. And I couldn't agree with that more, Tanya. So back then they were anonymous. They were Mr. and Mrs. Our Next Life. Today they are known as Tanya and Mark. They were a mid-30s married couple living in the West. So they're on track to retire in 2 years, and they had already made a pretty big move. So they went from the city to the mountains. They said to indulge in their outdoorsy passions while they were still working. So they realized they didn't have enough time to really enjoy them. So a big moment for them, of course, where they began to enjoy it was they retired early in 2017. So big moment. I want to thank you guys. I'm going to, transitioning into Our Next Life and what I'm talking about. So my name is Steven, aka Even Steven Money, and today we are talking about financial independence and the interview of sorts with Our Next Life. I want to thank everyone for stopping by, showing up, liking, commenting. If you're on now, go ahead and say your name and write where you're from. And if you have any questions or where you're on your financial independence journey, definitely type that in there. But let's talk more about Our Next Life. So one of the questions I asked them, I'll take a drink here. So I said, who got you started and who motivates you on your financial independence journey? I want to define financial independence journey before this question gets answered. So financial independence to me is when your passive income or semi-passive income is equal then or greater than your everyday expenses. So that's my definition of financial independence. I'm asking her, what motivates her? So for her, she said the ticking clock is the motivation. So she wants to hurry up and retire already. They want to do all this stuff in early retirement that they know they won't be able to do forever. She mentions climbing high altitude peaks. I don't know if I can do that now, but cycling long distances and skiing big lines. All stuff we need to be able to do so they're fighting hard against the aging. Also, if you've read Our Next Life or Tanya's blog post at all, she also has, there's some family history as well. She was not sure, and I think she's still not sure. She had a disease in her family that is hereditary, and she wasn't sure how long it would affect her being able-bodied. I know I think she's mentioned some things that have already affected her now. And again, I can relate, and I think we probably all can relate to having issues, within our family that we're not sure how it's going to affect us when we're 40 or 50 or 60, and especially in the 60s and 70s. So like in my family, so diabetes is something that's pretty, that is, I would say, part of our bloodline, is hereditary, more likely to get it. So I do my best to stay, healthy, but as well as I would say Alzheimer's is in my side of the family, or is on my side of the family. And, these are things that I think about with financial independence. and, really making sure that I'm able to do the things, now, while I'm able-bodied, right? We all don't know what's going to happen next. So they were saying that's what impacts them, what motivates them. Pretty interesting. So they retired in 2017, end of 2017, and she went back and looked at it, and she said, all of this is still true, but they learned the hard way how crucial it is to pace yourself en route to early retirement. I think this is something I really learned as well, as especially this year and the last year is making that shift to really creating a lifestyle that works best for us. So she said it's a long journey for nearly all of us, and you can't run out for that whole period. I related to the marathon, right? You can't sprint for the whole marathon. You do have to pace yourself. Even if you're running a 5-minute mile, you're still pacing yourself on that mile, where I'm probably running something much later. But she says, don't focus on optimizing everything. Instead, focus on instead focus on living the life you truly want to live. And this is something, this is in how I started out. This is in my coaching. It said, also that you can live a better life today. So again, really on the same page with this one. She said she wants to make sure to incorporate little bits of, every part of that. So optimization, focusing on the life that you live while they're still working and saving. So that was big for her. And I thought it hit home on a lot of stuff. Again, but hey guys, just a reminder, my name is Steven, aka Even Steven Money. This week's topic is financial independence. I did an interview of sorts with Our Next Life. So you're gonna hear about that. If you're joining, please, say hello, name in the comments with where you're from. It'll help me get closer to you guys and see who's on. So I appreciate it. And I see a couple of you on, I see a couple of you liking it. So again, thank you. So I asked them, I said, hey, what is your why? And they said, it's the great, big, beautiful world of ours. So I love hearing that. There's so much of the world to explore. They want to go to those out of the way spots that require a several-day trek to see them. So even retiring by, around 40, they know they won't be able to see everything because they got such a long list. And this is really important. I talk to my clients about this, and this is, I do this personally, and it's establishing a why. Like, why are you doing this? Why are you paying off your debt faster? Why are you trying to save more money? Like, what's your real reason why? For them, it's a lot of it's exploration. They want to see the world. They know that they might not be able to do it forever. So I really enjoy that and having a why, which is great. No, this is a little bit more of the technical side of it, but just something to keep in mind if you're interested in pursuing financial independence and early retirement. I asked what income streams that they plan on using when they retire early. So she went with short answer, taxable. So this is a taxable account, and they use index fund investments through Vanguard. Then they also plan to use rental income and their 401k investments. And let me see if I can copy this and paste it into the chat. Okay, here, let's see if it pastes for me. I don't know if it will. I think I gotta copy it. But if you check out the link that I put there, which is the interview of sorts, they go through a 2-phased approach, which is my approach as well. So what they do is while they're under the ages of 60, what they did is they said from 2018 to 2028, they're going to use their taxable investments. So that Vanguard account with the index funds, and they're going to draw off of that. But they also have rental real estate. So once they get that rental real estate paid off, they're actually going to start using that. And then the tiered approach, or the 2-phase approach, is from then on. So from when Mark, or Mr. Our Next Life, turned 60, and then when Tanya turned 60, they're going to then use a combination. So they're going to use the tax deferred, or what for them would be the 401k, and then the rental income. So they would no longer be using the taxable income. they're assuming that's either, I guess I would say they're assuming that that's zero. Also, part of their approach is, health insurance gets talked about a lot and with, certain cause. And they're going to be going and using private health insurance. Now, that could be Obamacare, or it could just simply be some sort of private insurance until they reach Medicare age, which would be 65, and then they're going to transition into that. So that is their two-phrased approach, which I highly recommend. Again, it gives you a lot of, how would you say, gives you a lot of room to move around, a lot of flexibility versus having just one, focus or one plan. And if that plan doesn't go well, you might have to go against that plan, which is a little scary. But let me, and then just the last question. So, and we're talking, my name is Steven, aka Steven Money, in case you forgot. And today I'm talking about financial independence interview I did with Our Next Life. And the next question I asked him, I said, what are your plans during early retirement? So this is kind of the fun stuff, right? Are they going to travel, do any special projects, part-time work? And so Tanya went ahead and updated this when, for now, the 2019. And one of the things she said, hey, look at that. She said, I actually wrote the book that she was talking about. So 4 years ago, which is great. And check it out because, work optional. Again, I'm pumping it because I read it and I liked it. But they've also decided that one of the things they said, they'd rather have a micro RV instead of a trailer because trailer driving is no fun, but they have not made the purchase yet. So all the things that they mentioned were true, which is great. So they had a plan and they stuck with it, and amazing. They said the main goal, though, is to stay open to whatever fun opportunities present themselves, because the most magical moments in life are the unplanned ones. How great is that? Most magical points. So this is just a brief. I just wanted to go through and give a brief interview talking about, Tanya Hester, talking about financial independence, an interview of sorts, her new book, Work Optional, Retire Early, the Non-Penny Pinching Way. I hope this, this part and reading this blog post and, really just listening to some of the things that I said and that she said gives you a different perspective on where, what's important to you. So she mentioned some great things in there that through the interview, talking about her why, talking about what's important to her, talking about things that she would do in early retirement. What is she retiring to? And really creating that lifestyle today so you can live the best life today. And you're not giving up everything in the world so you can retire, a couple of years or a few years earlier. So a lot of great stuff in there and just being flexible. So hopefully, again, that you heard this part and maybe it motivated you. Maybe you saw something that you really liked, something that you're taking home with you today. But that is it for the actual interview part that I had with Tanya. So we've got about two more things, and two of them are, one of them is a question. So I love doing questions from you, and I thought we had a really good one again. Now, it's not technically financial independence related, but not everyone is pursuing financial independence, right? So I had a question from, and I'll say it exactly here. So we had a question from Chuck, and I'm going to paraphrase some of this, and I'm going to do my best to read it here. So his big question is, what are some good tips for a couple buying their second home? Now, I took also the second home part as, so they currently own a home, and then they're looking to sell that home and then buy a home in the very near future. So as I read this, that's how I'm going to answer. So he gave some backup. So he gave a specific case. He said, our current place is going to be paid off in 3 years. So he figures about $30,000. The current value of the home is $129,000. And they plan on using the profit as a down payment with a plan to move in the next 12 months. So the big question, though, out of all this is, What are some good tips for taking that profit and then purchasing that next home? Does that sound about right? So I had a little bit of time and to think about it, and I wrote down a few things that I would do and consider. So the idea is that you're going to be selling this home. So the first thing that I thought of was, so $130,000, $30,000 left on the house. I'm guessing your automatic thought is, we have $100,000 in profit. What do we do with this? So my first thing is to be cautious. So let's think about what's really going to happen. So there is, if you sell the home, $100,000, we don't know if you're going to get exactly $129,000 for that property. We also don't know if, the $30,000 is going to be the exact, but it's going to be somewhere in there. So I would focus then just really being flexible and understanding what costs are going to be associated with it. So I would more think that it could be, 80,000 instead of the 100,000. And things to consider that you're going to have when you're selling that house is going to be your real estate costs. So you're going to have, you're going to pay for an agent most likely. Agents are going to take 3% on the selling side and the buyer side. So you're going to probably have as much as 6%. And then there's going to be closing costs. There's going to be prep for getting that home ready. It could be something simple, but who knows? You could be 2 weeks down the road and a buyer might come to you and say, we really like your house, but we'll buy this house if you have stainless steel appliances. We want a $2,000 credit. Well, that's $2,000 difference. So, having the home ready and prepped also could be, you're outside, having the place look nice, having the inside, maybe you're doing some repairs, painting. So just all stuff to consider, when you're preparing for, in those next 12 months. And then there's also, moving costs. So that $100,000 could be 80, it could be 70 or 60. So just really consider that when you're looking to make that first move, right? So things to consider, just in the back of your head, right? That it's not $100,000. What other costs are associated with that? From there, it's something that I talk about all the time with clients. So Dave Ramsey has the baby steps. I have what I call brick by brick, right? So brick by brick, we're laying that road to financial freedom. With that money, I would be thinking, and along the way, so not only that money, but before then, in the next 12 months, is making sure that you have an emergency fund that allows you to sleep at night. Now, this for some could be as little as $1,000 when you're paying off debt, or for some, if they unstable jobs or they don't have a partner, a number of different things. It could be as high as 12 months. So what's most important though is the emergency fund that you have that allows you to sleep at night. That you're not, when you wake up and you hear, oh no, my furnace or my water heater or my air conditioner went out and it cost me $3,000. That you're not. That you wake up in a sweat, right? That you're very concerned. No, you say, hey, you know what? I've got an emergency fund. Let's say it's 3 months, and your expenses are $3,000 every month. You have a $9,000 emergency fund. Your air conditioner costs $2,000. No big deal, right? You can withstand that. So that's the first one in brick by brick to really prepare for in the next 12 months. And then I would say paying off debt. I would say with the exclusion of the mortgage, I'm not really too worried about that one. So I would focus on the consumer debt then. So credit cards, medical. So credit cards, medical, student loans, car loans. Those are the big ones that I would look. Any fixed loans, the high interest rate, ones that are larger. All stuff to consider, but it's paying off debt and having a plan for that within the next 12 months. So I'd really consider that. So that's really the brick by brick, right? So that's the stuff that you should be preparing for within the next 12 months so that you're on stable ground. Or, better way to say it, that you have a good foundation, that you're starting to build those bricks for that road ahead. So that would be my next step for you in the next 12 months, things to, some good tips. And then it's actually going back to the bricks, even a couple steps before that is, how much can you afford? And afford is such, I almost wish there's a different definition of that number. So there's going to be what the bank tells you can afford, and what you can budget, what fits in your budget. So those are two different numbers. So I highly suggest really looking at, and when you are tracking your expenses over the next 12 months and before, is having that budget and knowing exactly what fits into your budget for your housing costs. Now, I personally would recommend 25% of your take-home pay. So in this example, if you have $2,000 a month, that you receive in your paycheck, it's deposited right into your bank account. 25% of that is $500. So that would be a smaller amount, right? Than maybe you're used to, but I mean, $2,000, are you ready? But yeah, so I would really consider that. So how much can you afford, but really how much can fit into your budget? And that makes sense. And then the big one, right? So you went through all these steps, and you might be using this for your profit, but with some of your profit is, what are you going to do with that money? And then if you've taken care of, emergency fund, and you're paying off debt and everything's taken care of, I would then look towards the down payment. So a down payment of 20% is going to, take care of any PMI or private mortgage insurance that's usually stipulated with a loan. So having 20% to use either before and then, or as part of your profits. But then consider some of the money that's going to, when you're buying that home, right? So your closing costs are usually around 3 to 4%. And then another thing to consider and think about and just do some research on is a fixed rate loan. Would you consider getting a 15-year or a 30-year loan? And then look at that and see how much it's going to cost you. So a 30-year, of course, is going to, your payments are going to be lower, but you're going to pay more interest. So that would be, advantage, disadvantages. And then the fixed 15-year, that would be, you're going to pay it off in a shorter amount of time, but your payments are going to be higher, but you're going to save a lot more in interest. So that's something to do a little research on and consider. I don't know which, you said you had about $130,000 value of the home. So it's down to less than 3 years. So maybe you already had a 15-year, and maybe that's automatically what you guys do. But just something to consider and something to look into. I also should mention the 25% of the take-home pay. So that's not just your private, that's not just insurance. That's your mortgage, that's your insurance, that's your county taxes, that's everything. And then just last part is that pre-approval. As you're getting very close to the end and you're starting to look at houses, before you look at houses even, getting a pre-approval from the bank and knowing, this is kind of where that step before, right? Knowing what you can fit in your budget. Again, I recommend 25% of that. So I thought it was a great question. So I appreciate it. Thank you, 100%. Just really something to consider when you're looking at, that next step for paying off, for buying your next home. And, this is a real specific example, but it's going to be the same for a lot of people. And what's exciting about that is you can take it step by step. It's kind of like, it's exciting, but it's not sexy. There's steps that you need to take to get to the next point. So yeah, it's knowing what's important to you, knowing what you value and spending that money on it. And then tracking your expenses to make sure, and budgeting for that, and paying off debt, and saving for an emergency fund. Like, none of this stuff is like really that, that sexy talk that you say, hey, you know what, I made this amount of money because of, I did so well in a stock or my real estate home. It's not sexy, but it needs to be done for you to, lay that road ahead to you and really get, financial freedom. Last, sort of not least, we have a book to give away. And I had already went through, kind of did a little bit of random, and I'm excited to say this book is actually going to the person who asked the question, which is exciting. So Chuck Carney, I'm going to follow up. I'm going to send you an email. I'll put your name in the comments, or I'll follow up. But this book is going to be coming soon to your home. So congratulations, Work Optional, Retiring Early, the Non-Penny Pinching Way. So I'm excited for you to get this one. It just came out. Check it out. You'll be checking it out soon, actually. and you guys can take a look. A lot of great stuff in here. It'll take me a little bit, but I will contact you, get your address, and we'll get that shipped out to you. So that's pretty exciting. Congratulations, Chuck. Can I put something on there? Congratulations. This might take a while to get your congratulations. All right. Hopefully I put it in there. Either way, there's a big congratulations. I'll pin that to the top and I'll follow up with you. But hey, I'm just wrapping up, guys. I appreciate everyone who came to check out the Facebook Live. I thank you, appreciate for the questions that I was able to answer. Thank you to Tanya for doing, for allowing the book to be given away, work optional. So many people to thank. I feel like this is like an acceptance speech. It's not, I promise. But it's just really important, and I appreciate it. I saw Syed Hussein out there, my old manager from when I used to work at the bank. So thank you for stopping by. Like, seriously, I appreciate this stuff. Like, I love this to see you guys' name, and hopefully, a like, a comment, just a simple view. I love it. Just a reminder, guys, I'm here every Friday, 1 p.m., Money Talk Friday. We've got a new topic. I share my story, recommendations, action items, and questions from you. Again, we had a great question today about mortgages and the next step. But why am I here other than to share my knowledge, grow your knowledge a little bit more? My story is I paid off over $100,000 in consumer debt. My wife and I found our own version of financial freedom. It allowed me to launch my own money coach business. I help my clients pay off debt faster, save more money than they ever have before so that they can live a better life today. We heard it today in the interview. And, retire comfortably tomorrow. And it sounds like pretty soon, to get that work optional life. But it's fantastic, right? The opportunity for me to help others, pay off debt, save money, live a better life today. If you know who I am, you're excited about this, you want to learn more about money coaching and possibly me helping you with your specific situation, I'm going to throw in the comments, like I do every week, guys. It is Even Steven Money /money coach. So check that out. It's going to go through and how you can get involved, how you can talk with me, ask questions, and really take the next steps to making, having a better financial life. And if you are looking to book that call, as soon as tomorrow, check my schedule out. You can jump on this link, jump on it, click on it, whatever you want to do with it. If you jump on this link, this is actually a link that will show my schedule and when I'm available, and you can schedule directly with me. We'll jump on a call kind of like this, and we'll talk it out, see if I can help you. Last but not least, guys, even though I did my acceptance speech earlier, thank you guys. Thank you guys for checking out the Facebook Live. Thank you for checking out the blog post. Thank you for supporting me with, questions, likes, shares, views. Like, I love this stuff. I get pretty passionate about it. And if I can help you, I really believe that we're in this together, making an impact on each other's lives and towards a better financial future. You would be absolutely shocked on how your life can change just by really getting your financial house in order, building a foundation brick by brick, and having that road to financial freedom. It's like one of those infomercials. I'm not only I'm not only the spokesperson, I'm also a client, because really this is what I went through in my life change, and I'd really like to help change your life a little bit as well. But that was deep. Apologies. I don't try to be that deep. Guys, thanks again. I'm hoping to see you guys here next week, Friday. And I will be talking, I believe this is another fun one. I think they're all fun, but I believe this one is the debt tornado. And also I got some pretty harsh backlash from the debt tornado, which is interesting. Hit me right in my heart, but what are you going to do? I'm Even Steven Money, guys. Live a better life today. Retire comfortably tomorrow. Hope to see you next week. That's all.